A badger and a coyote walk into a field together. That's not the beginning of a joke. That's one of the most documented cross-species hunting partnerships ever recorded in North American wildlife. And here's the part that breaks your brain. Neither animal was domesticated. Neither was trained. There was no human involved, no reward system, no conditioning. Two wild predators from completely different biological families simply decided to work together. Every instinct you have about how animals behave says this shouldn't exist. Competition, territory, survival of the fittest, solo hunting, all of it overridden by a deal no one signed. Here's what nobody talks about. There are documented cases where the coyote, after a successful joint hunt, actively leads the badger away from prey it just helped catch, not by accident, deliberately. Why would a predator sabotage its own partner right after cooperating? We'll come back to that. The coyote is fast, built for open ground. In a flat field with nowhere to hide, it catches squirrels and prairie dogs at a rate that seems impressive, until you do the math. Studies from the 1990s, including observations by Minta, and Lott at the University of California, showed that coyotes hunting alone on open terrain have a success rate hovering around 33%. 1 in 3 attempts. That's the baseline. That's what evolution produced. The problem isn't speed. The problem is geometry. The prey goes underground. A prairie dog burrow system can extend 15 feet deep and branch in multiple directions. The moment that animal disappears into the earth, the chase is over. For the coyote, the burrow is a dead end. For the badger, the burrow is an invitation. The badger is a different machine entirely. Low to the ground, compact, built with claws that can displace more earth per second than a garden shovel in an adult's hands. It can dig through packed soil fast enough to follow prey underground. But the badger has the opposite problem. Above ground, it's slow, conspicuous, and prairie dogs, with their complex alarm call system, can detect a badger approaching across a field at distances that would make a military lookout jealous. By the time the badger reaches the entrance, the burrow is already locked down. Biologist Jennifer Campbell Smith described prairie dog warning behavior as one of the most sophisticated anti-predator communication systems in any rodent species. The badger can dig, but it can't surprise. So both predators are running into walls. The coyote has speed, no access. The badger has access, no speed. Now watch what happens when you combine the two. The partnership doesn't require communication. It doesn't require trust in the way you understand trust. It requires only that each animal follows its own instinct, and those instincts happen to be geometrically complementary. The coyote chases. The prey runs underground. The badger digs down. The prey, now trapped between a digger below and a sprinter above, has no exit. Minta's field data showed that when the two hunted together, success rates climbed from around 33% individually to over 67%. Double the efficiency. Not through coordination, through fit. Think of it like a lock and a key that were never designed for each other, but still happen to open the same door. The coyote provides surface pressure. The badger provides subsurface elimination. Neither needs to understand what the other is doing. The outcome improves because the environment forces their strengths to intersect. This is not cooperation in the human sense. This is something older. Something colder. It's the exploitation of complementary asymmetry. And if that sounds like a business strategy, a negotiation tactic, or a management principle, you're not wrong. Now we return to the open loop. The coyote that leads its partner away from the prey it just helped catch. Field researchers observed this behavior and initially classified it as anomalous. A glitch. It wasn't. The coyote, in some observed instances, terminates the partnership the moment conditions change. Specifically, when prey density drops, or when a larger, slower kill is made, one that doesn't require the badger's digging, the coyote exits, quietly, without confrontation. This tells you something profound about the logic of wild cooperation. The partnership was never about loyalty. It was about leverage. When the leverage disappears, when the environment no longer rewards the alliance dissolves. There's no ceremony, no falling out. The coyote simply recalibrates. A 2019 behavioral ecology review noted that interspecific cooperation among carnivores consistently follows what researchers call a net benefit threshold. The moment one party's marginal gain falls below a certain point, the behavior self-terminates. The alliance isn't driven by relationship, it's driven by return. And when the return vanishes, so does the partner. That's not cruelty, that's precision. What the badger and the coyote built wasn't friendship, it was architecture. A temporary structure designed for a specific problem dismantled the moment the problem changes. And the deeper question isn't whether animals can cooperate. They can. We've known that. The deeper question is, what does it say about intelligence when a system produces optimal outcomes without intention? No plan, no empathy, no contract. Just two predators whose limitations happen to cancel each other out. The most effective partnerships in nature, and if you're paying attention, in human systems too, aren't built on trust. They're built on fit. The ones that last aren't the most loyal. They're the most precise. The badger doesn't need the coyote to like it. It just needs the coyote to keep running. If this made you think differently about how you build alliances, you're already thinking like a predator. Subscribe, hit like, and drop in the comments. Which is the smarter partner? The one who digs or the one who runs?